mention the next webinar that we have coming up on the November 17th
Sure, at the end.
about closing out 2020, making sure you're taking advantage of it. Or just closing out 2020
Just year end.
strong and making sure you're utilizing all your benefits.
Just things to think about before the end of the year. Just to let you know, I think tonight's recording will be much cleaner than this one, just because everybody else isn't on the internet. So that's kind of how it's been. So, but I mean, I'm recording this one, but more than likely it was like very quick second freeze ups. But I mean, it was literally just a second, but I haven't been seeing that problem at all in the evenings. So
maybe since it's noon, these guys are at lunch or something.
Well, I think but the bandwidth of everybody around here, I think the internet's just busy because it's all the other companies too. So we got this. I started the practice session.
Okay. Thrilled that you're spending your lunchtime with me to learn more about budgeting, and hey, you should pat yourself on the back for that, because this can be an intimidating topic, slightly overwhelming. I find a lot of people overthink it. So I'm hoping that you can take away quite a few ideas and different strategies and some confidence out of this exercise and this presentation. But again, I'm just so grateful to spend the time with you. And I do want to let you know before we get started, there is going to be opportunity in the Q&A section where you can enter questions throughout the whole presentation, and we'll address them at the end. And they are all completely anonymous. Everything's anonymous with the questions that we'll be asking, with the multiple choice and so forth. So your privacy is very respected there. So feel free to ask away appropriately. Just to start with here, this is a great quote, and it leads into mindset. And that's really what budgeting is about, is mindset, habits, just having confidence in your financial picture, a lot of things. And if you have the right mindset, you will be successful. If you don't have the right mindset, you will not. And I want to get you out of that spot and help you find some success. All right. Okay, so in case you didn't know, we're talking about budgeting today. I'm Christy Denham. I'm one of the financial advisors on staff here at the Jaldennis Group, an independent financial advisory firm here in this amazing town of Wiley, Texas. Well, I guess it's a city. But I am so passionate about budgeting. I've been doing it for about 11 years, my husband and I've done it, different strategies, fumbled through it, totally gone way off budget, busted the budget bunches of times. But you know, I tweak it and change it, and it evolves. Same thing with life, you know, and I got a lot of great stuff to share with y'all today. So we'll dive in here. As far as what we're going to review, we're going to talk, well, not really review, but discuss. We're going to look at your current financial picture, see where you're starting at, your starting point, and from there, you'll recognize some places of opportunity and changes, as well as habits that you have. We'll get excited, inspired, motivated, and put to paper your goals and what focus you want to have around your financial picture and what you're trying to achieve. Then we'll actually create the real deal budget with your intention. Again, going back to your goals and your focus. And then I'm going to give you some tips and stories and things of how to be successful and what little roadblocks I've come across and I've seen clients come across and so forth. And then how to stay the course. How do we keep this up over time without getting burnt out or just disregarding it altogether? I'd hate to see that. That makes me sad, girl. But again, we're going to throw up a poll real quick. And as I went over our agenda for today, we're going to throw up a poll. This is your biggest fear and hang up. So this is always very interesting. So I'll give you a moment to answer these two questions of why we're here today. Where's the struggle? And if you want to go ahead and fill that out for me, please. And we'll kind of go from there as far as knowing where we're starting out at. And I'll help coach you up out of these predicaments to make sure we have success. And again, this is all very anonymous, so you definitely want to be truthful, all out on it, and you won't be disclosed. Just giving a couple minutes because sometimes you need to think that over real quick. All right. So we'll circle back on that in a second. So leading into our next steps here, we got the plan down as far as what we're going to be covering today. Let's talk about some of the stats here. Okay, so how does this topic pertain to our series topic, which is women and money, right? Because budgeting is fairly simple, kind of, but how we relate this back to women and how we might be doing this differently, or things we should be aware of. Well, first bullet point there, we pay some money in some pink tax. For those of you that don't know what the pink tax is it's paying, ladies paying a little bit extra for something that is made for women or pink or just specialty. So it's the same thing, it's just presented via marketing a little bit differently. So that's frustrating to see that you have about $1,300 just because of that little caveat, you know. But something to think about when you're at the stores and you're like, well, I like this one, but what is the male version? Is it a generic thing? A key example of this is razors to shave with. That's just something to be aware of. And then the next we'll dive into nearly 50% of women admit digital payment methods lead to overspending. I am guilty of that. So I think of the culprits being like Amazon, Zulily, Jane. These are all apps, you know, they get their payment information and it's like 2 clicks later and what? I guess I did buy that. I thought it was going in the cart, you know. Those make spending pretty easy to do, especially when you can't sleep at night. You may do some online shopping. That's a tough one, and that could be a budget buster. But, before we go into this last point, which I wanted to let y'all know that the poll winners were lack of discipline and living in debt forever is a fear. Those are the two that we're looking at. So I'm going to help you become more disciplined with this and little tricks to do that. And I think by knowing your financial picture, you'll feel a bit better and a bit more confident of your strategy towards getting out of debt and what your plan's going to be. But I just wanted to address that from our last question here. Okay, so 63% of women think that financial planning is hard. It can be hard. A lot of times these different public figures, they will present budgeting, or books will present budgeting in one way, and this is how you do it. But really, there's so many ways that you can budget. And I'm going to give you some of those ideas, and you know, it's evolving. So you try a couple, you figure out what'll work best for you. But we'll be talking about that today on what approach you can take that you feel is custom to how you like to do things. Because you might be a spreadsheet person, or you might be a paper and pen person. This is all custom to you. So we're going to break down these barriers here. And I mean, a lot of women know that at some point in their lives that they will be alone and have to manage their finances by themselves. So again, it's my objective today to help you feel empowered and knowledgeable about how to go from here. And I love interpreting. I do that every day, all the time, analogies, stories, just to make it real and easy to grasp. Because a lot of personal finance and investing can be complicated. It can have multiple names. There's a bajillion acronyms. Oh my gosh. Things are always changing with what is relevant and what is not, what's a good investment, what's not. That's always changing. So I like to be your guide on this one here. Okay, so before we dive into the slide, we're going to go into a couple poll questions here. Little surveys, Women's Magazine, and the second one is about credit. So if you could go ahead and fill those out, and we'll go ahead and discuss the answers there. All right. So answers to these questions. This is a sad deal, guys. Magazine ads. It's a lot of pages. Only 5. Out of all those pages, only 5 talked about finances and getting yourself in a better place. The rest were all makeup and ads and clothes and this and that. So all these products that they're pushing. It's a sad deal. I mean, that's just all magazines there. And then the second one, as far as women in credit goes, before women could have be approved for their own credit card, 1974. That is not that long ago. Kind of crazy. So I get this all the time. And a lot of folks, they'll tell me how they learned about finance. And they'll say, you know, my parents never taught me about it. I think that just shows you that the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, with that being established in 1974, it just makes it more real. Like your parents are, especially your mothers, are living and learning. They didn't know how to manage these credit cards and how to protect themselves from these crazy interest rates, how to strategize around credit cards. I mean, I don't even know, gosh, I think it'd be interesting to find out when credit card points started to become a thing in the industry and how people started optimizing that path with flyer miles and so forth, because that's kind of the big motivator for utilizing credit cards for myself personally. But yeah, don't get mad at family, because a lot of folks get mad at family for not being taught how to manage credit. That stat just makes it more real that it hasn't been around that long. You know, they just simply didn't know how to manage it or be effective with it and so forth. So be glad you're on the webinar and we have a strategy going forward. All right, so this is what I call the come to Jesus. It is definitely a mindset thing here. We got to know how much money is coming in. That's a big one, because for you to be successful with hitting your goals and having success with budgeting, you have to know what comes in. And I know you're probably thinking, you know, Christy, that changes every month. I just can't tell you what it is, what's coming in. I just have kind of a rough idea. Some months are way different than others. Hey, no big thing. The next exercise I'm going to show you will reflect how to work around that one. But savings rate, what's that? That's a really good one. This is where we can kind of gamify things. If you find out, well, the goal of this question is to find out how much you are saving. And that means how much are you putting in a savings account for emergency account? how much money you're saving any other account for something, some other future goal, like a down payment on a house or a vehicle, or even like here's the big one that's real common is what are you contributing to your employer retirement account? What does that look like? Are you putting in 6%? And this is where folks like to get in the weeds, and in a lot of the financial social media groups that I'm in or podcasts I listen to, this is always back and forth. Do I include my employer's match? Well, you could. I mean, if you're putting in 6% and your employer matches 3%, so technically you're at 9%. I like to think of the employer match as like the icing on the cake, and goal is to keep moving that dial up. All right, so values of your assets. Okay, don't be shopping around your house and valuing it like you're trying to put stuff for sale on a garage sale here. This is big assets or big items you own. Like if you have a pretty like art pieces at home or some collectible things that are quite a bit of value, and you know if you sold them you could get the value pretty quickly, it could be pretty liquid, I would go ahead and sure count that. But mostly we're talking about your home and bigger things like that. Or I guess you could put your cars on there, but likely you're not going to sell your car and they're depreciating. So I kind of shy away from that one. I don't include it on my picture. Liabilities. So what is your mortgage payment or rent payment? Do you have childcare each month? Do you, what are things that you have to pay each month? Bills, that type of situation. What is like your healthcare costs? What is your insurance stuff? Those type of liabilities and obligations. What debts do you owe? We got to definitely look at that one, but you want to get all the pieces. So how many, like what kind of term is it? If you have a mortgage, how many months, what's the rate? And also put little ticks on there or write down, what do you hate the most? Like, what does this, like I know, I have a client who just gets super mad at this medical bill that she's got to pay because she was told that a lot of it was covered. So she's like, I'm going to get rid of that as fast as possible because I'm so mad at that situation. I just want it gone. Really, we want all debt gone if you can. But I know with a mortgage, that's a big one. But just think about what is your priority in this situation. So once we kind of look at these things, you got some numbers, you may be looking at this and say, hey, Christy, this all takes time to run around my house and gather all this information and get it on a piece of paper. I'm just rolling this out to you right now. What I would suggest would to set aside some time and do like a financial wellness day. Some of y'all have heard me talk about those. It's where you block out some time and you just work on your financial picture. You do this exercise, you figure out what your numbers are. If you already know these numbers, great. But this is when you would do something like this. You just earmark some time, use up some of that vacation time we didn't get to use because of COVID, boo, and do something positive for yourself. Because we got to have this info to build a successful budget. Got to have this. And knowing the information gives you immense amount of control of where to go from here. Okay, we're gonna get in the weeds a little bit. Where do you spend your money? Okay, activity 2. Again, this is where we go back to the mindset. Well, this is a project. If you don't know if this is all new to you or you're doing like a reset for budgeting, this is where you will pull a couple of your statements. And again, this will take a little bit of time because you'll print this out and things. But you got to be in the right mindset to approach this. So I got a quick story for y'all. In college, my mom would trick me to come home a day early from, I went to the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and at this time my parents are in San Diego. So they have me come home a day early, and nobody was there to hang out because everybody had to go to work. And what did I do that day that I was by myself at the house? I had a vehicle, but all my friends were working or finishing up finals. My mom knew that when I came home early like that, I would deep clean her house. So I would go to Target or wherever and get a new CD. That's how old. And get a Code Red Mountain Dew, because that's my kryptonite as far as getting all hyped up, and just deep clean that house and dance my patootie off and have a good time. I was in a great mindset, and that's what the trick was, to get myself there to do these things. So take a similar approach, whatever works for you. Make yourself a cup of coffee, make your house smell wonderful with an awesome candle, get comfy on the couch. Once you've pulled your 2-3 months of bank statements or credit card statements, let's talk about that for a quick second. So this is where people get all squirrely with the details. You'll want to pull the statements from where you spend your money the most. You're gonna, wherever money comes in through your bank account, pull that information. Wherever money goes out, if it's a credit card statements, a couple credit cards, or a couple bank accounts, get all that information and or pull all of that. And you're probably thinking, Christy, they all have different statement periods of time. Really, if you could just see where most of the transactions are at, go ahead and go with that 30-day window. Think of it in windows. You want 3 windows or 2 windows to look at. And wherever the bulk of the transactions go with that time period. I hope that helps. Because I know I got in the weeds on that personally, and I was like, well, how do I? That's the way to keep it simple and keep moving along. Really, you just keep moving along. So grab some writing utensils. It doesn't have to be highlighters, because not everybody has like 6 highlighters. It could be your kid's box of crayons, just something that you already have that you can mark up. You could use a same black pen and just make stars and different symbols for different categories. So once you've created that, you see some of the topics I put there for you. You don't have to do just 6. You can get more detailed if you wanted to. Maybe you have like a high maintenance pet or a couple pets, and you know that a lot of money went out to that, like horses, or you have several dogs that have a lot of needs, or cats, whatever. You could always do that for your pets if you know that a lot of money goes out each month. Or even like if you have a child that has a lot of activities or needs, you could always kind of categorize it for that child, especially if you split costs with like another parent, the divorce situation or whichever. That might be a good way to do that. But don't get too crazy. Keep it real simple. Okay, so those are some categories here, and I try to keep it pretty general. And then you want to total the months up. So income for 3 months, divide it by 3. Again, that helps you a ton with those of you that make variable income, where it's different every month. If you're a real estate agent, or you're high commission, or you're a solopreneur, and sometimes business is awesome at random points, and other months it's a struggle because maybe you're working on the business instead of in the business. It could be a lot of components, but this helps you work around those flexible months of various income streams. And also if you have various income streams too, like side hustles and hobby jobs, or just other ways you have funds coming in from different places, passive income streams and so forth. Let's see here. Okay. Isn't my peacock so cute? I love that infographic. PowerPoint is good with this stuff. And I'm like, ooh, yay, that's a good one. Okay, so as you've, sorry, I squirreled. So as you see go through this, don't be so hard on yourself. You gotta look at the good in what you've already done, okay? I really want you to be positive with this exercise. You don't need to be negative. We don't have time for that. We gotta keep moving forward. Being sad about what's happened in the past isn't going to do anything good for the future, but we do have to look at history to build the better future. So what are you proud of? I know sometimes I look at my budget and I'll be excited because maybe we cooked at home way more, so the restaurant budget's down. But sometimes the grocery budget's up. Or if I got an amazing deal on something, I'll be very proud of that because I was under budget. Or I would be really proud because I had sold this on Facebook Market and that was an extra $100 that I didn't anticipate that I could throw somewhere else. Just things that you're proud of that you made changes or adjustments or went outside of your normal that went really well. So you got to celebrate those pieces and keep moving on. I like to journal a lot of that, and I know that sounds super nerdy, but it helps. It helps you realize, oh man, that was great. I need to get back to that because that was good when I was doing that. You got to see what changes you want to make for the positive. Maybe you want to cancel some of those reoccurring subscriptions that you had no clue cost that much. One of the ones that I realized was through doing this exercise myself was where, like restaurant wise, where was the most expensive? And did we really enjoy that as much as eating at some of the less expensive places? Just really makes you think like, wow, it says it's fast food, but it is actually more expensive than this other sit down for what we like to order. And we like the sit down better. So that's just something to think about when you're making some changes. Or if you're paying for something for your kids and you're like, I think it's time for them to grow up a bit and they need to be paying that on their own. That's a great way to go, I think it's time. I'm not going to rip the whole Band-Aid off, but I'm going to pull off a piece and slowly wean them over, like off of mom and dad. And then cutting back. I think this exercise always blows people away with the grocery part, the eating out part. Cutting back to, okay, so again, I want to really emphasize with budgeting that it's not about deprivation and sacrificing. It's more having empowerment to have made choices to go after those goals. Look at it that way. You've prioritized something more than a Starbucks coffee, but those are nice. But if you budget for those, it's okay. Because those could be your only treat. You gotta kind of give take on this. How can you live your best life? Some folks go, Christy, I don't know how to cook and I hate to cook. It's not always about knowing and liking to cook. It's more like what you have at home to eat. Sometimes it's about just buying the fruit and washing it up and putting it in like a container that'll make you want to eat it more because you can see through the container and that it's there and you'll eat it more than a dark container. It's still in the bag. It's not washed up, that kind of thing. It's just doing little things to make sure you use everything up. And sometimes, okay, let's talk about some goals here. This is where we get excited about building the budget and building that intention. If you saw some things that you want to change, think about, are you proud? Like, what are you proud of? And what you would look back in 5 years and be like, man, I'm so glad that I now saved 12% for my retirement. I'm so glad I made that change because gosh, it wasn't that much because it's pre-tax dollars. It wasn't that bad of a ding. I didn't even notice it. Or, wow, COVID hit And y'all, I was not ready to be furloughed. This opened my eyes that I do not have big enough emergency fund. Or maybe it's, hey, you know, we want to go on a 10-year anniversary trip and we don't want to skimp on stuff. So we need to start planning for that now. Or in my case, you'll get so tired of me saying this, but hopefully, it'll happen eventually. That kitchen renovation, that's one of my, I would say 3-year goals, and we're saving in a brokerage account for that. So the money's invested in the market. Super excited about that, getting some great growth. That's a way that a lot of folks don't know how to save for those big projects, like 30K projects, 40, 50K down payment on a log cabin, crazy, awesome dream stuff. So this is where we make little changes and get to those points. And starting with your budget is where it goes down. I just love these fun, colorful graphics here. So starting with your income, I put these in order from most important to least important. So what's coming in? Like you pull that from the last exercise. Figure out your needs. Dave Ramsey refers these to as the 4 walls, which would be your home, clothing, food, transportation. But we also know that like there's childcare stuff, there's insurance stuff. That's all things that you need to have. You don't want to skimp on the childcare and the insurance stuff if you can. But that's a big component there to plan for. Your goals, always want to prioritize those. And some of those goals are paying off debt and just knowing you can have multiple goals going at once. I know I had a few goals going on at the same time to hit timelines and in staying on track. I wouldn't have a ton of goals, maybe have like 2-3 things going on outside of saving for retirement. But beyond that, if you got 5, 6, 7, it makes it difficult to go after those. Variable expenses is where you have opportunity, where you can realize what you were willing to give up to get intentional on what you're working towards. So that's opportunities for the give take there. All right, so once you've created that in that previous slide, once you've created your numbers, knowing, okay, this is how much is for this is how much is for that each month. You can start off with just pencil and paper to get it going. But the big thing is does it balance? Does what's coming in go down to 0 at the end? Or are what you plugging in, is it still, you don't have enough money in the month to pay for the whole month? What is the situation there? So that's where we work this, we gamify this, figure out where some fat is to trim. Or, I mean, it'd be really neat if you did the budget and you had money left over. You can go, oh, well, where's important to plug that back in? That would be pretty awesome. That's the goal. But if you're not at that point yet, here's where we trim it up to make it work. Just see what's really making you happy. Is coffee in the morning your habit to go through a drive-through place or stop in one of the gas station places? Does that make you happy, or can you make it at home? Like, what do you enjoy there? Or you feel, you like to get your nails done? Is it spark joy? KonMari method it. I could geek out there, guys. But yeah, you got to see if it sparks joy and makes you happy. If it doesn't, or maybe you're not in that season of life. True story. Like I have it on Facebook Market right now. I have a Canon Rebel point and shoot or single lens reflex camera that is, when I see that camera, I'm like, that was fun, but now I just don't I'm just busy. I'm doing other things and someone else would enjoy it more than me. I mean, you just see stuff in your life. You're like, nah, I think I'm focusing on this instead. So maybe you cancel that subscription, or maybe stop shopping at a place, or just change things up for a bit and see how you like that. This one's always I call this, for those of you that have seen some of my videos before, this is where I call it treasure hunting, because it's going through things that you already spend money on and chipping away at them to get a better deal, get optimized, as I like to say a lot. Electricity, cell phone, a lot of those things where it's like you don't really notice the quality, but the costs could go down. Some stuff, okay, true story, don't go cheap on the hairstylist. Oh my gosh, my sisters would make fun of me so bad. I used to go to a beauty school. Yeah, it was not good. Not good. Or if you found one you liked, this was like way back in the day when I was paying off some debt. And this could just be my own situation, not all, but oh my gosh, yeah, I I had some fun haircuts and coloring, but and then the student would move on and they'd up their prices. So there you go. But if you really, really wanted to sacrifice, that could be a place. It wasn't a good one for me. Changing your shop at habits. Okay, Home Goods is a beautiful place, but if you see from your exercises that you spent a lot of time in Home Goods, sometimes it's a good decision to just drive past. And other shopping habits, like what time of day you go to the grocery store, who you shop with, what areas of town you're in, what to avoid or take different routes so you don't pass certain places. We could get all kinds of creative there. Remember I mentioned late at night shopping really easy, right? The 3 clicks and you bought it and you're like, what? And here's the rule here for that hack, guys. If you like load up your cart, make it a rule that you have to, like, you can't click buy. You only have a certain day of the week, like a Tuesday, that you can actually check out of those virtual carts. That's a good way to think about it. Or if you can't go ahead and check out at night, if you can't sleep, you have to wait till like the morning. I mean, at least that, okay? Like you gotta like sleep on it further or think about it more. So the next day you're like, yeah, why would I don't even have enough time to read the books I have, let alone the 6 books I plopped into my cart. You know, I just, no. So that'll help you there. Can you tell I'm a shopper? But you know, if you budget for it, it gives you permission to do it and you've planned for it. So leading into this next one, we will be sending out some great worksheets and tools for you after this webinar. Give us a day or two to do that. But included in that is this excellent worksheet that helps you look at it, your different expenses you have throughout the year on one sheet of paper. So where am I going with that? Think annual expenses. And sometimes those are a little bit hard to figure out, but here's an easy one. Go out to your driveway and look when your vehicle registration is. Boom. There you go. That is an annual expense. You know, you pay like 90 bucks or 100 bucks to get your vehicle registered, and you have to get it inspected. And then if you have an older vehicle, you might have to get something fixed on it. So plan in advance for that. Another thing, annual fees. So this is a way to save some money, believe it or not, but you have to plan. Planning is always winning. Nobody loses when they plan. Some stuff happens that you couldn't ever predict. Like for me, I had a dead battery, and it just comes out of nowhere. Like I was driving to Camp Gladiator and worked out at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I go to leave camp and the car would not start. So thankfully, one of my workout friends gave me a ride home, And then my husband was able to jumpstart the vehicle or buy the battery, bring it back, and my vehicle would start again. But that was like $100 I just didn't anticipate. Sometimes that happens. That's why we plan for emergency fund. But I also get zinged by Birthday Palooza. That is the month where everybody has a birthday. For us, it is August. So I try to mitigate that big expense by saving throughout the year in I think some of you have heard me call it like a slush fund. It's not really a slush fund. It sounds like it's fun, but it's not. It is just another savings account that the crazy one time a year expensive stuff happens, like Christmas and insurance. If you pay for your insurance in 6-month or year increments, that's a great way to save money. It hurts when you got to pay it, but you're glad you did it for the rest of the year because you got a cheaper rate. Same thing goes for like my daughter's preschool. I paid for that up front because I did the number crunching and I was like, wow, I'm saving $700 on this. So think about something like that in your life. Also, don't forget pet vaccinations. Because that one time, I was pregnant with Kelsey and I was not up to taking the dogs to get their shots, okay? So my husband took the dogs up to get their shots and he walked out of there with a $500 bill. And I was kicking myself for not shopping out where to have the shots done, where we could get more cost effective, like a better deal on the flea and tick prevention and heartworm prevention stuff. Yeah, researching and planning. If you don't do it, it's going to cost money. So this helps us do that. And I know this is a lot to dig into, but again, if we just chip away in little areas, I think it would be tremendous. And again, this is something that you don't change overnight. It's just kind of an evolve over time. And okay, so next here, we're going to go over how to make this successful and how to win with it. We just talked about tracking your annual expenses and knowing when they're due. Another one that's big is health and maintenance expenses. Okay, here we go. Ticking time bomb on my house. Air conditioner. I got 2 of them. One is on its last leg and we've been kicking the can. I hope the beast lasts a lot longer. But that's just planning for those types of things. Automate it. Oh my gosh. So this would help tremendously if you're not always doing that. I try to automate anything and everything I possibly can in my entire life. I'm really bummed that I can't automate Wiley Utilities. They had to come out of my checking account. And then I also I was a rookie and I had tithing automated through my credit card. And then I realized like, that's not the way you do that for that. You don't do the points. Nah, it doesn't feel right. So it comes out of the checking account because it costs like the church money to do the credit card processing. And I'm not trying to make points off of my tithe, that's just kind of like, ethically, I decided that was a no-go. So there you go. But savings, you can have it move over to your high yield savings account or your brokerage account or your retirement account. If that sounds like amazing to you, if you're not already doing it, give us a shout here. We'll get that squared away for you on your big ticket purchases you're saving for, as well as your retirement. Bills, keep it simple. So the goal is to have all the bills automated onto the credit. Well, you don't have to do it this way. This is how we do it. Have it on the credit card so we get all the points and then pay the credit card. You can even set that up on automation as well. But think about how much more time that saves you, stress, and how much better you sleep. Because I don't know about you, but you always think of the things when you lay down. and then you wake up in the middle of the night, this will help get rid of some of that. Give yourself grace. You probably heard me say that a few times through this presentation, because you have to, because you're always changing it. And the month is always so different to what you have to pay out or what it looks like or events and things. So addressing your shortfalls, and I say don't kick the can down the road. So if you really feel like you've been doing these exercises and you go, Christy, this is just, I don't even know where to go from here, call us. We will give you ideas. We will think outside the box. We will figure out some plans for you to make this work and get you through it. So you don't want to go at this alone, which leads to the last one. I love my runner person. Getting guidance and support. Not everyone wants to talk about finance, so you'll find friends that do want to talk about it and some that don't. Maybe they're not super happy with where they're at, or they're very private. Hey, that's okay. Give us a call. All of us here love to chat about these things, especially me. I'm a personal finance geek, and I love it. I love talking deals and figuring out plans and strategies and getting you to the next step. Okay, so the budget's built. You wrote down the numbers of what's gonna come in and what's gonna go out each month, and it balances to a certain degree. You see where you want to improve and what you want to make changes on. Here's some ways to track it throughout the month. So once you've built it, it's like, how do we live with it now? There's a couple ways that you could do that. And again, this is totally custom to you and what works well for your lifestyle and what you know and you trust yourself with or don't trust yourself with. I know if I put cash in my wallet, it'll go to like Diet Cokes at Quick Trip. It doesn't stay in there long, and it can only be like a little tiny bit of money, but yeah, it's just kind of up to you. If you're starting out, and you know you really want to make some big improvements, cash envelope system's always great. That could be for the grocery store, or here's a good one, Black Friday. I like to buy gift cards. Like I love to shop at Kohl's for Black Friday. I'll buy Kohl's gift cards and get my 4 times fuel points at Kroger. So I save on gas, well, for my husband's truck. And then I got these gift cards, and that helps me stay within the parameter. Like I can only spend X amount of money in this store because that's what my gift card says. Same thing with Bath and Body Works. Oh my gosh, I just love that store. And all the cute, pretty things. Their marketing is just killer, and all the smells, and oh my gosh. So if I know I'm going to be bad, this helps me be good. So cash envelope or gift card, you can do that with anything. Notebook and pen is a really good way to start this up. And you don't have to put in every single expenditure each day, but the more you track it, like every few days, the better it'll be, and the more on point you'll stay, especially before going into a weekend when you may have more time to shop for things. That'll help you out immensely as well. All right, so then we're going to look at if it's you and a significant other and you both like to spend, a good way is to collect the receipts. Or again, the person watching online, the bank statements and everything, seeing all the transactions, one person totals that up, and maybe mutual access to things. You all figure out what works well for you. I also like using the budgeting app on the fly. So the budgeting app, you can use a lot of different ones. Every Dollar is the Dave Ramsey app. I love it. I've used it for 4 years, and I actually pay a little bit extra money. So all of the transactions aggregate into the app, and I just delegate it out. Makes it really easy. Some free ones. Dave does have a free service through there. I just pay for the upgrade. But another would be mint.com. Great company. They're owned by Intuit, who owns QuickBooks. So, it's like kind of accounting based, but simplified. A lot of people love Mint, and that's free. More robust and technical one is called Personal Capital, but there's a bunch of ones out there. So you want to choose one, research it, stick to it, and implement it, and keep it for a couple months to see if you like it or not, and then make a change. Especially don't pay for anything until you've tried it for a while. And it'll take a while to set up a little bit too. Not to discourage, but you want it to work for you. Excel, some folks love some Excel. I love the folks that love Excel. Shout out to those folks, because I know some of them are on here. It's so pretty. I'm not a Excel person for budgeting, but oops, sorry. But if that's something you like to do, go for it. Use a combination of these methods. So try different things, figure out what works. Sometimes two things work out, like a journal and an app. I like to do that right now. Or the paper and pen and the Excel workbook, or whatever speaks to you, and try it out for a while. Return the stuff, or just say, you know, I love the stuff. I don't want to return it because it was a deal, but now I know when I feel this way, I have to protect myself, and this is what I should do instead. Or I should take this other route home, or I should avoid that area when this happens. So think about it, learn from it, document it so you don't forget and make the same mistake another time. All right, ladies, thank you so much for joining me today. And I just hope you got some inspiration and some goodies and some great ideas out of this. And it was definitely well worth your time. Thank you so much. If you have any question and answer or any questions, put them in the question and answer section, please, and we'll go ahead and address those. I do want to let you know, because I'm sure you may ask this as well, you will receive a follow-up email with worksheets and tools in the next day or two. Also, I want to let you know the next webinar is going to be November 17th. So that, and we'll also offer the noon time as well as the 7:30 at night time as well, in case you can't go to one or the other. And there will be recordings available. Let's see what else. And the next webinar is going to be about 2020 year-end to-dos, and how to close out the year to take advantage of all opportunities out there, as well as planning for 2021 going forward. So we'll kind of chat a little bit about contribution limits and tax optimization a teeny bit, but that's just different ideas how to make sure you're getting the most of what you have. All right, so let's dig into some questions here, because I think I have a couple. And this is an opportunity for you to ask it. Let's see here. Okay. If you get paid bi-monthly, should you use the income from 2 months to pay for upcoming expenses? For example, 9/30 and 9/15 pay periods to cover November bills. You know what, the goal, okay, I always like to build a little bit of a cushion in that sense, so you don't feel like the goal is, so, and I do like that, like your October 15th bill could pay your mortgage that pays the beginning. I mean, if that's what you're asking, that's what I would do it for. That's how I strategize it myself. You don't want to be waiting for that 9/30 to September 30th pay period to pay the mortgage that's due like a few days later. That's kind of cutting it too short. So I really like that 15-day bubble of you kind of pre-planning for those pieces. If you're also paid bi-monthly, I think it's great to have the first pay period maybe cover, if you get paid like the 1st and the 15th, that first can pay the credit card bill that pays for all of the other utilities and different things. And then the 15th one could pay for the mortgage and any other month-end stuff, childcare, things like that. So hopefully that helped out a little bit. That's how I strategize around that one. So you have like a 15-minute front load, so to say, so you're not chasing the month. Do y'all have any other questions? All right. Well, thank you all so much. My contact information is below. I'm here to help, encourage, work through things, give you ideas, any of that good stuff, as is the rest of my team here at Gel Dentist Group. I'd love to hear from you, any positive feedback or any feedback, really. I'm very coachable. I'd love to hear it from you. If you would like to see webinars on other topics, we do have some other things coming up beyond the November 17th benefit webinar. So if you have something else that's top of your heart and mind that you want to see more information on, please let us know. We love your feedback and information. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good rest of your week. Thank you. Bye-bye.